When you think about a police department, what first comes to mind? Is it the uh, patrol cars, flashing lights, maybe crime scene tape?
Yeah, the obvious stuff.
Exactly. Or do you ever wonder about the intricate systems, the data, the behind-the-scenes efforts that truly make it all work?
That's what we're digging into.
Today, we're taking a deep dive into exactly that, the inner workings of a major city police department. We'll reveal some surprising facts, I think, and crucial challenges that shape public safety every single day, drawing insights from a really exhaustive professional report.
That's right. And while our focus today is on a comprehensive report about the Reno Police Department, specifically from the Center for Public Safety Management, LLC, or CPSM,
Okay.
it really serves as an incredibly insightful lens into the operational realities and the innovative solutions being explored by major city police departments pretty much across the country.
It's like a case study, almost.
Basically, yeah, our mission here is to cut through the jargon, the numbers, and give you a clear, concise understanding of how police operations are analyzed, what key issues they face, and, the solutions being proposed to make things better, more effective.
So what does this all mean for you, whether you live in Reno or maybe you just care about how cities maintain public safety generally?
Hmm.
It means gaining a shortcut to being well-informed about the very real, often under-discussed challenges and strategic shifts happening in law enforcement. You'll hear about everything from core staffing needs to technology roadblocks.
Big ones there.
Yeah, and even how something as specific as, say, a K-9 unit's deployment strategy can ripple out to impact broader community services. It's all connected.
It really is.
We're going to start with a fundamental concept in policing, the Rule of 60. Now, you might not have heard of it, but it's a critical benchmark for how police departments, well, aim to operate effectively at the patrol level.
Mhm.
Can you explain what this rule means? Why is it so important?
Certainly. The Rule of 60, it's really a dual guideline, two parts. First, it suggests that, ideally, 60%, that's the target, 60% of a department's sworn officers should be assigned to the core patrol function.
Okay, the officer's actually out on the street responding.
Exactly. And second, and this is maybe even more revealing, it states that no more than 60% of those patrol officers' total on-duty time should be committed to responding to calls for service and self-initiated activities like traffic stops or arrests,
Right.
which leaves a crucial 40% of what's called discretionary time.
And that 40% isn't just downtime, is it? It's not coffee breaks. It's the engine for proactive policing, yeah.
Absolutely. That's the key.
So what specific kinds of activities would that enable? And what's the situation in Reno based on this report? Are they hitting that mark?
Precisely. That 40% is absolutely essential for, well, proactive community problem solving, crime prevention, building relationships, just being visible and being readily available for serious unpredicted emergencies.
Got it.
In Reno, the data shows daily saturation indexes. That's the measure of how much time is committed for patrol officers frequently hit the 70% range, sometimes even higher.
Wow, 70%.
Yeah. And this isn't just about busy officers. It highlights a fundamental shift. It indicates they're operating in an almost entirely reactive mode.
Just responding, not preventing?
Pretty much. Which means fewer opportunities for officers to engage proactively with the community or, intervene before incidents escalate. And currently, even when you include traffic section personnel, only 53% of all sworn officers are assigned to handle calls for service.
So that's below the first part of the rule, too.
Way below that recommended 60% for patrol. Yeah.
That really paints a picture of a department constantly playing catch-up. So what's the proposed fix, then? How do they get closer to that ideal rule of 60 and enable more proactive policing?
Well, to address this heavy workload and, facilitate that shift towards more proactive policing, the report recommends filling the 14 existing patrol vacancies.
Okay, start there.
And adding 12 new full-time equivalent, or FTE, police officers' positions directly to the patrol function.
So 26 total new bodies in patrol.
A total of 26 additional officers in patrol, exactly. Distributing them across existing shift schedules, especially during peak workload times, to balance demands. And the goal is bring that saturation index consistently below 60%.
Makes sense.
This staffing increase is seen as really crucial for enabling that proactive approach they need.
Okay, we've just explored the critical staffing challenges in patrol and how that impacts their proactive capabilities. But a core issue, it seems, that underpins all of these operational challenges is how departments manage their vital information. especially, in this digital age.
Oh, yeah.
So let's turn our attention to the tech landscape. You might assume police departments are on the cutting edge, right? But a report reveals some significant struggles with criminal case management and personnel technologies. What's surprising about how they're currently tracking vital information?
Well, this was pretty striking. What's truly fascinating here is the reliance on informal, inconsistent Excel spreadsheets.
Spreadsheets.
Yes, across various supervisory staff for tracking work efforts and personnel performance, and the existing records management system, the RMS.
That's the main database, right?
Yeah, the core database for tracking incidents, investigations, arrests, everything. It's described in the report as, quote, unserviceable.
Unserviceable.
Wow. So this absence of robust, integrated systems severely limits the effectiveness of supervisors and managers in accurately measuring and, frankly, guiding staff efforts.
Wow, Excel spreadsheets for critical police work in, 2024?
Yeah.
That's quite a revelation. So what does this reliance on, I guess, anecdotal information mean for understanding crucial and evolving issues, like the impact of mental health calls? We know that's a growing part of police workload everywhere.
It's a huge blind spot. This isn't just a data gap. It means a major evolving societal challenge is being addressed largely, well, in the dark. The current computer-aided dispatch, or CAD, systems that's for recording and tracking calls for service, and the RMS, they don't allow the department to isolate and collect data specifically related to transient and mental health-related calls.
They can't even track it properly.
Not in a systematic way. So without this data, departments are essentially guessing. It hinders their ability to develop truly effective, compassionate, and frankly, resource-efficient strategies for a highly vulnerable population.
That's a huge blind spot for any kind of strategic planning.
Yeah.
And what about body-worn cameras? I mean, they were widely adopted to enhance transparency, collect evidence. Seemed like a straightforward tech advancement, but the report indicates they've actually become a major burden. What's the paradox there?
Indeed. And what's truly surprising here isn't just the workload itself, but the paradox you mentioned. A tool meant to increase transparency and accountability can, without proper foresight and resources, actually cripple a department's ability to operate efficiently. Well, it makes transparency itself a significant bottleneck. Many agencies, Reno included, rapidly deployed body-worn cameras without maybe adequate policy preparation or, crucially, resources for the immense storage and management needs.
The sheer amount of video data.
Exactly. So the record section, along with property and evidence, patrol, crime analysis, they're just overwhelmed by the significant increases in staff time required to review, redact, process recordings for judicial discovery, public records requests, PRA requests.
I can imagine. Redacting video must take forever.
It does. For instance, processing GovQA requests, that's a common platform for public records.
Right, I've heard of that.
For camera footage alone required 4,100 hours of staff time over just 3 years.
4,000 hours. That's like 2 full-time jobs for a year, just on that one task.
Pretty much. An incredible amount of time pulling people away from other duties.
So to centralize this overwhelming task, maybe streamline it, what's the proposed solution?
The recommendation is to establish a dedicated discovery unit within the record section.
Okay, a specialized team.
Exactly. This unit would be specifically staffed, ideally with no fewer than 4 new full-time equivalents initially, just to centralize these complex tasks. The goal is twofold. Eliminate omission errors, ensure timely and accurate information release, which helps restore public trust.
And free up other officers, presumably.
Then free up other people, yeah. This just highlights the sheer volume of data they're dealing with. I mean, the record section alone answered, 44,831 phone calls in 2020?
Wow.
And the report also recommends some other practical things, like eliminating cash payments at the records section to reduce risk and establishing a 4-person NIBRS unit.
NIBRS, what's that?
That's the National Incident-Based Reporting System. It's a modern way of reporting crime data, much more detailed and nuanced than older summary-based methods. So moving to that requires dedicated staff to ensure compliance and accuracy. It's a big step forward for, proper crime analysis.
Okay, that makes sense. So it's clear that these foundational challenges, staffing and technology, they ripple across the entire department. Beyond patrol, police departments have all sorts of specialized units. How are those teams structured, and what unique challenges do they face, particularly when it comes to resource allocation?
Right, it's not just patrol. Let's look at the canine unit, for example. The report noted there are 5 canine officers.
Okay.
But there's a perception, at least in patrol, that these canine officers are frequently out of service for training, and maybe not readily available for general calls when needed.
Ah, so they're seen as separate, almost.
A bit. So the recommendation isn't to eliminate them, but to optimize. It suggests reducing the team size to 2 patrol canine handlers to cover the high activity hours.
Okay.
And crucially, assigning these canine teams to handle general calls for service, not just holding them in reserve solely for specialized canine deployments.
So integrate them more into the regular patrol function.
Exactly. This would free up the remaining 3 positions for patrol, helping address that heavy workload we discussed earlier, and ensuring those specialized resources are also contributing to core service delivery day to day.
That's a very specific adjustment, yeah, designed to increase efficiency.
Yeah.
What about units focused on community issues, like homelessness? That seems increasingly central to police work these days.
Very much so. The Community Action and Outreach section, which includes the Homeless Outreach Team, or HOT,
Okay.
and the Mobile Outreach Services Team, MOSTERI, they work to address issues like repeat calls for service, homelessness. And while they do excellent work connecting individuals with resources, the report points out again that the current computer systems don't allow for isolating and collecting specific data related to transient and mental health-related calls.
Back to the data problem.
Back to the data problem, which, as we discussed, severely limits accurate analysis and strategy. For instance, a February 2021 count identified 772 unsheltered individuals across the whole region, Reno, Sparks, Washoe County. But specific, actionable data just for Reno alone wasn't available. So they recommend tracking more comprehensive data to develop truly effective, evidence-based strategies for this vulnerable population. You can't manage what you can't measure.
So, again, the data gap prevents the department from fully understanding the scope of the problem within its own jurisdiction and tailoring solutions effectively.
And how about victim services? Are they adequately supported given the critical role they play?
This is a really vital area and, frankly, a concerning finding. The Victim Services Unit, the VSU, currently experiences significant workload capacity issues.
Meaning they can't keep up.
Yeah, approximately 25%, 1 in 4, police reports involving victims are unable to be assigned to advocates.
Wow, that's a lot of people falling through the cracks.
It is, and many of these victims are from underserved areas, meaning they might not have other avenues for support. So the report strongly recommends creating 2 additional city-funded victim advocate positions.
Just to meet the current need. Just to ensure all victims receive necessary services. It highlights an immediate need to enhance their capacity.
It really sounds like data, staffing, workload. These are the recurring themes across the entire department, from patrol to specialized units. How does that play out in areas like traffic enforcement that's often seen as a distinct function?
It's very much connected. In the traffic section, while the unit itself is well organized, apparently there's an understaffing of accident investigators specifically.
Okay.
Which means patrol officers and motorcycle officers are frequently drawn away from their primary duties, patrol, traffic enforcement, to handle traffic collisions.
Adding to their already strained workload.
Exactly, just pulls resources from elsewhere. So this highlights a need for increased staffing in that specific area, accident investigation, to free up general patrol resources.
Got it.
On a positive note, though, the city's 3E working group, focusing on engineering, education, and enforcement for traffic safety.
The 3 E's.
Yeah, that's commended as an outstanding initiative. So it shows a proactive, multifaceted approach to a complex problem, which is good to see.
Definitely. And speaking of efficiency, how are civilian staff helping to ease the burden on sworn officers? This seems like a critical strategy for many departments facing staffing shortages.
Absolutely, and it's a real success story highlighted here. The report emphasizes the significant contribution of civilian employees, like the front desk police services specialists.
The people you meet when you walk into the station.
Exactly. In the last 3 years alone, front desk staff wrote 17,088 police reports.
17,000.
Yeah. And if you translate that, it means they've freed up roughly 24,000 hours of time that sworn officers would otherwise have spent just writing reports.
That's huge. That's officer time back on the street or investigating.
Precisely. It demonstrates the immense value of civilianizing certain functions where appropriate. It allows sworn officers to focus on core policing duties, the things only they can do, while ensuring other critical tasks still get done efficiently.
Okay, so beyond these immediate challenges of staffing and technology, departments also have to think long-term about their workforce. What's critical for succession planning? Developing future leaders in an organization like this.
That's a major point in the report, too. With a number of command staff, we're talking lieutenants, civilian command level personnel approaching retirement within the next 5 years.
A potential brain drain?
Potentially, yeah. So the report emphasizes the imperative for a structured succession plan. This isn't just about, waiting for someone to retire and then filling the seat. It's about systematically mentoring the next generation of leaders.
Actively preparing them.
Actively preparing them, intentionally exposing potential future leaders to a variety of administrative assignments, different tasks. It ensures institutional knowledge isn't lost and continuity is maintained, which is vital for stability.
That's vital for any large organization, really, but maybe especially for public safety. What about the challenges in just bringing new people into the force, especially in today's, well, increasingly difficult recruitment environment?
Yeah, you hit on a key phrase from the report, increasingly difficult recruitment environment. This is a widespread challenge in law enforcement right now, pretty much everywhere.
Why is that, do you think?
Well, it's complex. Public perception, scrutiny, demands of the job, competition from other sectors, lots of factors. So the report recommends assigning adequate personnel full-time just to recruitment efforts.
Making it a priority.
Making it a priority to ensure competitiveness and also to identify specific goals and strategies for diversity hiring. Because the bigger question here is, how can police departments attract and retain diverse talent in such a demanding, often scrutinized field? It goes beyond just putting up ads.
Right. It's about culture, community perception, compensation, the whole package.
Exactly, the whole package.
And once they're hired, what about the crucial dispatchers? The unsung heroes who are the first point of contact during emergencies. What's their situation like? Often overlooked, maybe.
Definitely overlooked sometimes, but absolutely critical. The dispatch unit is described as severely inadequate in its authorized staffing levels.
Understaffed, too.
Severely. With 5 current vacancies and a heavy reliance on overtime, just the overtime was equivalent to nearly 5.2 full-time positions back in 2019.
Wow.
The unit is under immense stress. High volume of calls, constant radio traffic. Imagine you're a Reno resident calling 911 during that peak 7:00 to 8:00 a.m. window.
Yeah.
That average response time for high-priority calls, it can spike to over 12 minutes. And a big chunk of that, 4.0 minutes on average, is just the dispatch delay.
Meaning 4 minutes before someone even answers or processes the call.
Basically, yeah, 4 minutes just getting through the dispatch queue before an officer is even assigned or sent. So the recommendation is stark. Add 6 new FTE dispatchers and 1 new FTE supervisor.
7 new positions just for dispatch.
Yeah, just to reduce this burden, meet operational needs, and ultimately shorten those potentially life-threatening delays. It directly impacts public safety response times.
That really paints a vivid picture of the immense pressure on dispatchers and the direct impact on the public. It sounds like a job where burnout could be really high. Does the report touch on retention issues or the difficulty finding qualified people for such a demanding, understaffed role?
It doesn't explicitly detail retention stats for dispatch, but it definitely implies retention issues through the heavy reliance on overtime and the documented difficulty in recruitment, which certainly extends to dispatchers. It's a tough job.
Absolutely. And for new officers coming in, how is the training designed to prepare them for this complex environment we've been discussing?
Well, they use the Police Training Officer Program, the PTO program, which is generally seen as comprehensive and modern.
PTO, not FTO.
Right, PTO. It focuses more on mentorship, adult learning principles, real-world problem-solving, rather than just the traditional field training officer model, which can be more evaluation-focused. So it emphasizes training over just evaluating.
Okay, that sounds positive.
It is. However, the report suggests a crucial improvement, incorporating greater exposure for trainees to other units, like traffic, investigations, community action, outreach.
So they see the whole picture earlier.
Exactly. Help new officers develop a broader understanding of each unit's function, its value, making them more adept at problem-solving down the line and recognizing when to call on the right resources. It fosters a more holistic approach to policing right from day one.
That makes a lot of sense for building well-rounded officers who understand the whole system. Finally, what about internal communication? Within the department itself, is information flowing smoothly there?
Apparently not as smoothly as it could be. The report actually cites a lack of internal communication as a major organizational impediment.
Really? How does that manifest?
Well, it's not just about, water cooler gossip. It impacts morale, efficiency, cohesion, people feeling disconnected from the bigger picture. So to foster open, constructive communication, it suggests executive staff host regular state-of-the-department briefings.
Like town halls.
Yeah, kind of like town halls. Quarterly, triannually, semi-annually, whatever works. But making sure all shifts can participate. And additionally, things like online status boards for major projects, so employees can see what's happening department-wide beyond just their immediate unit.
Keeping everyone in the loop.
Exactly. It impacts overall morale positively, makes people feel connected to the larger mission. Simple things, but important.
What an incredibly detailed and fascinating deep dive into the complex world of a modern police department. We've gone from the really granular details like staffing ratios and, records management systems
Yeah, the nitty-gritty.
to the broader picture of community engagement and long-term succession planning.
Yeah.
It's truly eye-opening to realize how deeply interwoven these internal systems are with what we actually see or experience on the streets every day.
Indeed. This deep dive truly shows that effective public safety isn't just about, patrolling streets. It's about this intricate dance of data, technology, human resources, and crucially, continuous adaptation to community needs and evolving best practices. The challenges are real, no doubt about it.
Clearly.
But so are the dedicated efforts and innovative solutions being proposed to meet them.
It really makes you consider all the unseen work, doesn't it? All the effort that goes into just keeping a city safe and how internal operational efficiency or inefficiency directly impacts the services you receive as a citizen. So for your final thought today, as police departments continue to evolve and considering the data and staffing challenges we've discussed, what might be the next frontier for public safety innovation? Is it just more technology, new community partnerships, or perhaps entirely different approaches to public safety that go beyond traditional policing models?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Where do we go from here?